I have purposely not made any content on ChatGPT so far because as soon as it was announced, it seemed like the internet was absolutely flooded with so-called experts who had all the magic formulas to make it work perfectly inside your business. Obviously, we know it doesn't work like that, but it is something really interesting that I've been playing with behind the scenes. I figured I've been playing with it long enough now that I can show you a few ways that I've found it to be really useful. Now, because of my own personal standards, I don't want to take text out of ChatGPT and paste it onto my website. However, there are some ways I think we can use it to reformat text or take what we've written and summarize it in different ways that can be really useful, not only to help the reader or engagement or promotion of your article, but also to reformat things so it's more likely to show up in search engine results. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 different ways that I've been testing this out and seen really good results from. We're going to first take a look at how we can have ChatGPT review an article we wrote and provide us with a list of questions it answers. We can then take this and create an FAQ section on our blog post that's formatted with FAQ schema, which I've already seen results in getting these featured as rich snippets inside Google search results. Next, we're going to take that same premise and ask a few different prompts to ChatGPT to get it to format some of our blog posts in different ways. This could be things like tables or charts or checklists or different pieces of rich text that make our posts more engaging. These things also work really well to format inside of Google's rich snippets, so we have another chance of boosting our SEO there. Lastly, I'm going to show you how I've had ChatGPT go through my articles and reformat them into social media posts. I've had really good luck turning these posts into Twitter threads with a really specific prompt that will format these Twitter threads exactly how I want and get some engagement. Since I've been using this technique, I've seen all my stats inside of Twitter go up. So enough talking about it, let's go ahead and dive into these. Like I said, I'm going to provide you with all the prompts down in the video description below so you can take what I've already built and adapt it to your own needs. Let's go ahead and get started. For demonstration purposes in this video, I'm going to be using this blog post here, which is nice and short and properly formatted. It just makes for an easy example, but you could use any blog post you have. So we're going to need all the text from this blog post to be able to copy and paste into ChatGPT. But let's first start here with our prompt. I am using ChatGPT 4 and paying for ChatGPT Plus. So this first idea is to be able to get some FAQs from our blog post that we've already written to be able to add as an FAQ section inside of our article. So in this prompt, I'm saying at the end of this prompt, I'm going to paste in all the text from a blog post I wrote. I want you to create a list of all the questions that this blog post answers. Please format your response in question and answer format so that I can use it for an FAQ section in my blog post. You will be creating the questions, but you will be using text from my blog post as the answer. I would like a minimum of 5 questions and no more than 10. Here is the text from this post. So I've built this prompt up so that ChatGPT understands that it's going to be trying to analyze the blog post that I've written and try to figure out what questions it already answers. This is something that a computer is really good at that humans kind of struggle with. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the text from this blog post here. We'll go ahead and scroll to the bottom, copy all of it all the way to the top, and I'm going to paste it into the bottom of my prompt and go ahead and hit enter. Naturally, when you're writing blog posts, you're going to be answering questions, even if you're not writing those questions out in the post. And that's why I think this prompt is really useful, because we can use machine learning to go through and figure out what all questions are being answered. Let's go ahead and take a look at the results ChatGPT gave us for this first prompt. So looking at the response here, it looks like ChatGPT ended up giving us 7 different questions that we answered inside of this blog post. Now, I'm not going to read out all the answers here, but I will share a link to this entire thread so you can go through and see exactly what it wrote. But let's go ahead and take a look at the questions that it thought we were answering. What is the importance of fiscal transparency for a charitable organization? I'm not sure if that's exactly how somebody might put this question into Google, but it is a question that is answered inside this blog post that's not formatted that way. Question number 2, why should a charitable organization have a separate bank account and what features should they look for? Now, this is going to be a hard thing to rank for because it's dealing with taxes and bank accounts, which there's lots of information on, but this is a really good question that this article does help tackle. Question number 3, how should a nonprofit manage and track donations? That's an absolutely fantastic question that we could include in our FAQs here. Question number 4, why is it important for nonprofits to record every disbursement and how can this information be utilized? Question number 5, what are some of the implications of off-mission spending and how can it be monitored? Question number 6, How often should nonprofits provide financial statements, and what information should be included? This is a really great question that people might be typing into Google already, and we know our article that we wrote has answered this question. And finally, question number 7, what are the benefits of hiring a nonprofit CPA for handling accounting? Of course, this is really specific to my website, but this could work well as the FAQs down in the bottom of my article. The FAQ section that I'm adding to the bottom of these blog posts isn't just for SEO purposes. I also think that as readers go through and read an article, or most likely skim an article, and get to the bottom, they might see these lists of questions and go, oh yes, I did have that question, and spend a little bit more time on the blog as they go through these questions and answers. Here, I'm going to go ahead and show you how I add these FAQ accordions to my blog posts, because I actually don't use Generate Blocks for this. I use Cadence since it has the FAQ schema built in. Let's go ahead and take a look at an example of that. I've got a sandbox install here where I went ahead and pasted in all the content from this post. Obviously, we would just be editing the live post, but I don't want to do that just for this demo. I've also installed the free version of Cadence Blocks on here, which has everything we need. So I'm going to go in here and add a new accordion block. And this is the Cadence one. They look very similar to the Generate Blocks one, but like I said, the Generate Blocks one doesn't have FAQ schema. So here we can pick whichever style we like. I'm not going to worry too much about styling this. But now we can go back to ChatGPT and copy and paste these questions and answers. So here for question 1, I'll go ahead and highlight that, copy it, paste that into the title, go back here and get the answer, copy that, and paste it in as the answer. Of course, we can add another one here. So we could go to question number 2, copy it in, paste it, get the answer, copy, paste. Now, the important thing here for SEO purposes is we do want to go back to this accordion block, which we have selected here, and we can go into Advanced, FAQ Schema, and Enable FAQ Schema. This will automatically add the FAQ schema that Google can pick up on their end. In testing this, I already had this work really well on a brand new website that had only been live a couple weeks. I was able to get this post indexed with the FAQ schema, and the actual accordions were showing up in Google's search results. So I think this is a really good way to take some of the information you've already spent time creating, reformat it a little bit differently using ChatGPT, and get a little bit more SEO out of it. Speaking of that, the next tip I have for you is along the same lines, but uses several different techniques to reformat some of the content you've already created. Let's dive in and take a look at those. Back here inside of ChatGPT, it already has all the text from my article, and it will remember that from earlier in the conversation, so there's no reason for me to have to put that in again. But the next prompt I'm going to put in here is there any information from my blog post that you could put into a table? As it goes ahead and works on that answer, I'll just note that formatting things inside your blog post inside of tables seems to do really well in search results. These are also different kinds of rich snippets that can show up inside the search results, and Google seems to like information when it's formatted this way. Let's go ahead and see what ChatGPT came up with. Here it said, certainly one of the key pieces of information from your blog post that can be organized in a table is the elements involved in donation tracking. Here is a table that details the information that should be recorded for each donation. Then it proceeds to go ahead and give me a table. What's really nice about this is I could take this information, copy it, go back into my blog post, pretend we're still editing that. We'd find where that part of the information inside this blog post is. We'll just pretend it's here for now and paste this in. And it will automatically paste this in the right format to be a table inside of WordPress, which has all the correct markup. To me, this is a really easy way to take text you've already written and find new ways to incorporate it inside your blog post. Of course, you might need to go back and reread how everything flows with the table in there. Maybe the table actually replaces how you put the information in there in the first place, but varying up the different types of formats inside your blog post not only helps you in search engine results, but it makes your blog post more fun to read. The next prompt I have here is there any information from my blog post that you could turn into a checklist to help people? Now, this one doesn't always work to the same degree that the table one does, but when it does work, it becomes a really handy asset for your blog post. Not only could you include this checklist right there in the body of your blog post, but you could also take this and make it some kind of download people could opt in if they enjoy your blog post, which would get them on your email list. So you can see here what it's come up with is a nonprofit financial management checklist. It's got bank account setup information, donor management information, record disbursements, monitor off-mission spending, balancing the books, financial reporting, and seeking professional assistance if needed. Now, of course, you need to be a subject matter expert on this information to look at these checklists and know if it's actually accurate. ChatGPT is not famous for getting things right, so it's really important that you understand the information that you're publishing. But the fact that ChatGPT can take the information you already wrote and reformat it into a checklist is really helpful and something that would take us a long time to do. It's going to be a whole lot quicker to put this prompt in, take what it gives you, and then tweak it to make sure that it fits your needs. This next tip is one that I've really been enjoying and I've been incorporating into some of my new blog post templates. And what it is a too long didn't read section. Essentially, at the top of the post, it's a small call out section that will tell the reader all the information about this post in a quick little summary. ChatGPT does a really good job of knocking this kind of thing out in a second, so let's take a look at the prompt that I've engineered. In here, my prompt says, can you provide me with a too long didn't read section for the top of this blog post that will quickly summarize the content of this blog post? It should be no more than 3 to 4 sentences. Now, when you're really explicit about how long it should be, it does a much better job, because I've noticed when you just say a concise summary, it will sometimes do 4 or 5 paragraphs, which is not quite concise. So for this too long didn't read section, it says, this blog post emphasizes the importance of fiscal transparency for nonprofits to maintain tax-exempt status. It outlines 6 essential steps for managing nonprofit finances: opening a separate bank account, implementing rigorous donor management, recording every disbursement, monitoring off-mission spending, regularly balancing the books, and providing monthly financial statements. Additionally, it suggests considering hiring a nonprofit CPA to handle accounting complexities, enabling the organization to focus on its core mission. Now, I would probably lop off this last part here, but this first half of it is a really clear and concise summary of what this blog post is about. I really think including these too long didn't read sections at the beginning of blog posts are a really great feature to add, and it's so simple to do, especially when one little prompt will get you the entire summary you need. The last thing I want to highlight in this section of the video is a prompt that will help pull out some highlights from your article that you can really emphasize. Let's take a look at how this one works. Here inside this prompt, I'm saying, can you provide me with 2 or 3 lines from my original blog post that would make for good block quotes? Something profound that should be emphasized. So we'll go ahead and hit enter on that and we'll see what it comes back with. It ended up coming back with 3 different quotes. I could go back into my article, find where these pieces of text are, and reformat these into block quotes so I could call out more attention to them. As you can see, it did a pretty decent job on all these, and it was text that I had already written, not something I'm asking ChatGPT to write for me. Now, the last thing I want to talk about inside this video is social media. If you're anything like me, you're probably very inconsistent at posting on your company's social media pages. I know a lot of agencies struggle with this, but I actually think ChatGPT can be really helpful here if you're already doing content marketing. Now, you can ask it to format all kinds of different social posts, but where I've had the most luck is through Twitter threads. So I'm going to show you the prompt that I used to take this post that we've been working with and turn it into an engaging Twitter thread. Let's jump back inside of ChatGPT and take a look at what that prompt looks like. Okay, so this prompt is a little bit longer. It says, I want you to create an interesting and engaging Twitter thread that summarizes the main points of the article and then gets the reader to click the link to read the full article. The first tweet should start by using the open loop technique or have some kind of cliffhanger. This will help encourage people to read the entire thread. All of the subsequent tweets should be a complete thought. The final tweet should be a call to action. Do not number the tweets. Use appropriate hashtags or emojis where applicable, but do not overdo this. And make sure that the length of each tweet is no more than 280 characters so that it is formatted properly for Twitter. We'll go ahead and send this in. While it's working on formatting the response, this is something that I've been doing recently through my Twitter account, summarizing different Accessibility Weekly articles or different articles we've put together on the Admin Bar's blog. Although I've not spent a whole lot of time on Twitter, since I've started doing this, I've noticed the retweets going up, the number of followers I have, and the overall engagement on my account increase. Now, like I said at the beginning, I feel a little bit iffy about having ChatGPT write things for me. However, I am having it reformat things that I originally wrote or that was originally wrote for our blog in the case of Accessibility Weekly posts, and I feel like it does a pretty good job of staying true to the overall meaning of the original post, and it's worked out pretty well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the tweets it came up with for this sample article. Let's see first if it used our cliffhanger or open loop for the first tweet. It says, attention nonprofits, did you know that one small mistake in handling your finances could jeopardize your tax-exempt status? Discover the critical steps to keep everything on track. For me, I think this is a pretty good opening tweet for a thread. If I was a nonprofit and I was worried about this, I would probably click through to find out what all's included in this thread. I won't read all of these out to you. Like I said, I'll give you a link to this so you can go through it on your own, but let's see if it finished with a good call to action. Here in the last tweet, it says, ready to delve into the nitty gritty, unravel the secrets to a stellar nonprofit financial management by reading the full article. Protect your tax exempt status. Then, of course, a space to leave a link to your article and some appropriate hashtags. Now, I don't think you're going to revolutionize your social media presence by using ChatGPT. However, if you're anything like me, you struggle with coming up with the ideas on how to promote the stuff you've already created. I think ChatGPT makes for a great tool for giving content that you've already created and having it reformatted in different ways and giving you different angles to promote it. For me, this has been a huge success in using ChatGPT and one of the main reasons I continue to pay for it. Now, I'm sure when it comes time for me to publish this video, I'm going to be really nervous before I hit the button. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I purposefully didn't make content on ChatGPT because I feel like the market has been so saturated with it. I also didn't want to be one of those people that came out of the gates after using it for a week and pretending to be an expert. Here, after using it for months now, I still don't think I'm any kind of expert. I just wanted to share with you a few of the things that I've been working on that I think have gotten me some pretty decent results. Of course, I'm sure you've been working on these things too, and I would love to see what you're coming up with. In the comments below, make sure to leave a comment and let me know what you thought of these tips and share any of the tips that you might have or any other resources that you might think are valuable. If you'd like to see me do more content on ChatGPT in the future, I would love to know that down in the comments below. Make sure you're subscribed and we will catch you on the next one.